The first of the two most dominant two-way softball players in program history, Lynn Rocheleau was named All-America in each season of her 3-year career, amassing legendary numbers as both a power hitter and power pitcher in the glory years of the 1980s. At 6 foot 1 inches tall, Lynn was an imposing figure both on the mound and in the batter's box. As a pitcher, she won all 25 of her decisions up north in the regular season, finishing with an overall pitching record of 31 wins and 5 losses with a 1.24 ERA. As a first baseman and designated player who spent her career batting in the heart of an E-Club Hall of Fame batting order, Lynn batted .371 with 146 hits, 90 RBI, and only 9 strikeouts in 394 official at-bats. With Lynn, Eastern won 110 games with a winning percentage of 82%, captured regional championships each year, and finished first, second, and third, respectively, in national tournament play.
Hi, my name is Chris Mock, and I am honored to offer these sentiments about my former teammate, Lynn Rocheleau. I met Lynn in 1988 when I was a freshman at Eastern and she was a junior, and we played together as teammates for 2 seasons. She was one of the upperclassmen with whom I first became friends. Lynn's stature and fierce competitiveness on the field could be intimidating if you didn't know her. This was good for us, but not so good for our opponents. Her stats speak for themselves. She was an amazing player. You obviously are doing something right to become a 3-time All-American. She was a talented player without a doubt. With her strength, she threw the ball hard as a pitcher. I mean, really, would you want to be a batter facing this intimidating 6 foot 1 pitcher who threw gas from 40 feet away? I'm glad she was on my team. Today, players with Lynn's size and ability are being offered full scholarships at the Division I level, but this was not the case in the mid-1980s. In 1984, Lynn was recruited to play at Eastern by Jeff Anderson, the assistant coach at the time. Both were Fairfield natives and had played in high school for legendary Coach Ed, Lynn in volleyball and Jeff in basketball at Andrew Ward High School in Fairfield. In softball at Eastern, Lynn would work hard during her workouts with Riz, pitching coach John Risley, and the late Sue Warner, her catcher. Neither Riz or Sue could cut Lynn any slack during those workouts, but they always knew Lynn would come through behind that mound when needed, and we all knew that too. Whether playing the field or at bat, Lynn was someone you could count on to come through for you. During her senior year in 1989, my sophomore season, if she wasn't pitching, she was playing first base. Between watching Lynn, an E-Club Hall of Famer and All-America first baseman Marianne Shumbo, the starting first baseman in 1988, I watched and learned how the position was to be played. I distinctly remember Lynn's confidence and composure at first base, and that was something I tried to emulate. Lynn had a way of catching that ball at first base with great confidence, instinctively knowing that person was out, then immediately throw the ball around the horn if no one was on base. Or, if there was a base runner, Lynn would remain alert, ready to throw that ball. This was something I learned from Lynn. She was evidently a great teacher and role model, and I was lucky enough to continue the tradition by being named to the All-American team as a senior in 1991. In Hawaii, when the team spent its spring trip playing 8 games during Lynn's senior year, 4 of us, including Lynn, roomed together. I remember having a lot of fun on that trip. I remember one time when Lynn was, well, I better not share that story. If you got to know Lynn outside the softball field, she was, and still is, a kind person who's actually soft-spoken unless you get to know her. And then if you get to know her, watch out. She would get you laughing with the stuff she would say. Like that one time we were in the dugout and she was talking. I better not share that story either. I am proud to call Lynn a teammate and a friend. She was one of my favorites when we played softball together, and thank goodness she didn't come back for her extra year of eligibility after she graduated so I could finally play first base. But seriously, I'm really happy for Lynn to receive this honor, as well as being inducted into the Connecticut Softball Hall of Fame earlier this year. It is so well deserving.
Lynn and I were teammates, 1985. I was a senior, she was a freshman. She was very talented, very imposing player. As a catcher at 6'1", I don't really remember anybody trying to steal on her. And tough, she was the only catcher I ever knew that never played with shin guards on. She said they got in the way.
As a teammate, Lynn was a fierce competitor. She would do anything for the team, whether she was pitching or catching, playing first. She was just going to go after it and give it everything she had.
Lynn was very influential in my posture. I stood as tall as I possibly could to get as close to eye contact as I could and not be the shrinking coach intimidated by a ball player. So I remember standing on bases when we had our discussions. So she'd be on the ground and I'd be almost eyeball to eyeball. Once in a while there was a giggle down the end of the bench and she was usually in the middle of it. And fortunately, she wasn't one of the blowing out my eardrums. And I appreciated her quiet approach to the game.
So I didn't really know how tough she was until during the Nationals when she got her jaw broken during pregame warm-up. I found out later that she didn't want to be sedated when they wired her mouth shut because she wanted to get back to the field as quick as possible and support her teammates. And we played the couple of games, and sure enough, when it was done, I looked into the stands and there she was with her parents. It was amazing.
The first three batters are Costa rips one to the left center, McGillicuddy rips one down the right field line, and Lynn bounces it off the fence on one hop. And there's three freshmen. Debbie Pelosi looks over at me. My goodness. It was like we got three Division I players right at the top of the lineup.
Players don't come in anymore that are pitching at her caliber and catching for a pitcher who threw, 62, 63 at the time and had great movement from Kim DeRozier, and then go on and play first base. I've seen a lot of softball at, Division I World Series, and Lynn could have played there without a doubt. Lynn could have went to UCLA or Alabama and played and done extremely well.
Not only just softball, pitches, catches, plays first base, hits the cover off the ball. I mean, she was just an unbelievable talent.
Three-time All-American. That would be every year she played, she was an All-American. And I was privileged to be associated with all the Rocheleaus, Lynn, Donna, and family.
At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce for induction into the E-Club Athletic Hall of Fame, Lynn A. Rocheleau.